Okay, so apparently millennials, which is the current generation, not putting their money in the bank. Nope, they ain't doing it. Well, probably because they got no money. Right, Kazoo? Yeah, how about that sleeping 23 hours a day? Dog. Well, I found 2 pets. I think the other one I put outside. I can't remember. Anyway, they're in and out all the time, so in and out. But anyway, yeah, apparently millennials are not putting their money in the bank. They're kind of like putting it in the sock drawer. They're hiding it in the, the cookie jar, that type of thing. So why is that? Well, is it because they are too lazy to go to the bank? No, I don't think that. I think one thing about the millennial generation is, they're very tech savvy. And I'm pretty sure most millennials, I think there was a poll, like they don't get their news, they don't watch TV, so they'll watch like TV shows, but they don't watch news on the TV. They get it off of Twitter, they get it off of YouTube, they get it off stuff like that. So chances are there's probably a lot more of them that are a lot more woken up than slightly older generations. And you'll notice it just how you talk to people. Like people typically over my age. Even like say 35 and older. I'm in my 40s, but most of them they know something's wrong, but they don't know what's wrong. The millennials, information travels so fast. They're used to fast information. I mean, they don't even sleep hardly. Apparently they're like basically completely deprived. They don't sleep enough. They're on that go all the time, which could explain a lot of things. Of the intense society that we live in is people not getting enough rest, like staying up to all hours of the night and then get up and go to school or go do this, go do that, whatever. That'll bog you down. That'll rewire your brain if you do that too much. The next thing is that they're going to be more likely to find out alternative news than the older generation. I mean, you get people in their like late 40s, early 50s. Yeah, there's a lot of them that are like me, but that's not the normal. A lot of people over the age of 50 probably don't even use the computer. You know what I mean? Like that's not their generation. You know what I mean? They're not interested in it. I know a lot of people that are even in my town that are just they're just not interested in computers at all. They think there's like even as an entertainment thing, they're just not interested. They don't use them. It's not their thing. So that means those people are going to be behind the times on a lot of stuff. And I'm not saying I'm like 100% up to date on everything, but I would think that the average millennial, again, probably gets their news from the alternative. And because of that, they're probably learning about the banking system. And if they learned about the banking system, this would explain why they're not leaving their money in the bank. And I've been saying this for a while too. Don't put any more in the bank than you're willing to lose. Turn it into something. Have a plan. I mean, I don't give financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor. I don't have a lot of money, so I don't have to worry about it anyway. But you could turn your money into assets that you could use. If something goes awry with the banking system, which at some point it's going to. Whether it's a slow bleed out that we've been seeing economically. I mean, in the States, people are basically the job growth you get is basically okay. The person that was working full time now works 20 hours a week, and they hire 2 people at 20 hours a week. So working class poor is like growing, and it doesn't take long from working class poor to just it'll be like Honduras. Like one of my friends used to say when he lived in Honduras, he says, you either live in a mansion or you live in a cardboard box. He says there's no in between. It's either you're dirt poor or you're stinking rich, And it's true, that's what we're seeing. The middle class is being eroded away. More in the United States than here in Canada, but here in Canada, the middle class is kind of growing a bit, but that can reverse like that. Again, our economy has been like hugging the line, slowly growing, but hugging the line since 2008. We're skimming by the iceberg. We haven't hit it. We're just skimming by it. But that can change like that depending on what happens to the south of us. So I think millennials are picking up on all the unrest in Greece, Spain, Italy, even Ireland, and all those places in the UK. There is a bit of job growth in Europe, sure, but the problem is that the job growth is very minimal for what it could be, considering the amount of unemployed youth around the world. Considering all the unrest around the world has a heavy link to the unemployed youth. Kids get cranky when they got it. And then of course you got student loan debt that is just ridiculous. It should never cost anybody like $100,000 to go to school. It's ridiculous. You know, with it living in the computer age, you should be able to get a PhD on most things that don't require practical hands-on service from your home computer. You should be able to do that for $100. You know, here, pay your $100, take the exams. You know, but the thing is when you have to pay professors and have to run an infrastructure of and I mean, a good example would be Ottawa. You look at, like, it's the whole complex. They revamped it over the couple of years. We're talking billions of dollars just to revamp school. You know, so is it about the facility that's there, or about learning? You know, like, really, you can put people in an auditorium and teach them there. You know, or a big gym. You know, you could an airplane hangar. You could teach. Education doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be effective. So the way I look at it is the faculties and the universities, they don't really look at ways to make education more efficient, because if they did, they'd be out of a job. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. It's a business. Homeschooling now should be the number one priority. Think about it. If you had more homeschooling, again, a school bus costs $25 an hour minimum to run it. That's just the bus, not including the driver, not including the maintenance. Just in fuel, it's going to cost at least $25 an hour. You know, in diesel. You know, and when you look at it like that, times that by, I mean, when I went to school, there was, I think, 35, 40 buses. You know, there was 1,200 kids in the school I went to, which some schools wouldn't consider that big, but for around here, that was pretty big for the time. And, you know, at the time, you know, fuel wasn't the cost it was. So, you know, some buses had 2 drivers on them. You know, one guy would go there during the day, you'd have somebody else driving back at night. You know, whatever. You know, they would do stuff like that. But now it's very, very expensive, and universities don't even have school buses, so to speak. So, you know, when you look at, okay, well, there's 32 buildings on the complex. Is that really necessary? That type of thing. So, how does that relate to kids putting their, money, taking their money out of the banks? Well, it's connected, because that's where, you know, they've got a PhD to go out and flip burgers. You know, you're super smart. You know, maybe even you had a scholarship, and it did you no good. There's no jobs, and there's no technicians for the Intergalactic Mega Blaster project. You know what I mean? Like, there's just, yeah, it's a great course, sure, but there's nobody's hiring right now, and that's where universities fail. And when they fail, kids have debt, tons and tons of debt. So they're going to be in the link too, because think about it this way, even, and what you're seeing too, especially males, they're not going to school like they used to. There's no reason for them to now. You know, like there's reasons. And I'm not saying don't go to school. Again, at least get your high school. You're not guaranteed anything with it, but it does close a lot of doors if you don't have it. But on the other hand, you have, okay, so you're sitting there, okay, you're pumping gas, okay, and you didn't go to college, and you're considering going to college, and all of a sudden, your buddy beside you pumping gas went to college, is $120,000 in debt, and yet you pump gas just as well as he does. You see the parallel here? The only difference is you're going home broke, he's going home in debt. You know, so you're saying, okay, well, if he's in debt, and his girlfriend's in debt, and all his friends are in debt, and all his friends are in debt, and all those guys are in debt, and that's what collapsed the economy in 2008 was a housing bubble. Now the student debt's even worse. Well, if that collapses again, I don't want my money in the bank. Again, the younger generation is going to be much more informed on this, because they're going to find out about it just through their peers. You know, word of mouth. And if they go to college, you know, again, you got people that go take the liberal arts, and again, what job are you going to get in any of the liberal arts? You know what I mean? There's maybe, you know, museum curator or something. But I mean, I worked in museums before. The turnover rate in a museum works slower than the speed of smell. I swear to God. People stay there. They become dinosaurs. They're part of the furniture. When I worked in the aviation museum, there were people that was their first job, and they were gray-haired when I started, when I was, you know, younger. Now, me, I was on a kind of like a temp thing. And I was there for, you know, and I see, like, I mean, these people, I mean, that was going to be the last job they had. You know, those days are kind of gone, you know. And again, how many people, you know, there was courses. I remember a friend of mine was considering becoming a museum curator in college when I went. And I just took upgrading. And he was like, yeah, I got to take that. That'd be really cool. I said, dude, you'll be old and gray before they hired, I mean, the Science and Tech Museum, they hired, like, I think 2 people in the entire time I was there, you know. And now they're taking down the big rocket now. It really. I was there since I was a kid, and I was like, I almost cried when I heard that news. But anyway, the thing is like, you know, I said like there's no job equivalent there. You know, like it's I don't know. You know, the only places are going to be living history museums or live museums where you know, like an aviation museum where you know, where they need mechanics or something like that. You know, but if you're going to be an aviation mechanic, you can be my cousin, for example. I'll give you an idea of my cousin. My cousin didn't go to college. He got his private pilot license. Okay, and in the same year, he got his instructor rating. And within the following year, he got his helicopter rating. Within the following year, he became a helicopter and light aircraft mechanic. Him and his wife, who's also a flight instructor, now live in not Singapore. Where the heck is it? Warm and tropical, not cold. They've been living there for years. Okay, and that was his schooling. He knew that. Well, you know, helicopter mechanic. He flew all over the place. Search and rescue, you name it, he did it. But the equivalent he probably spent at the time, maybe $50,000-$60,000 worth of, you know, basically education. But, you know, in an industry that was hiring, you know, and aviation, you know, if you want to, here's a tip for you. Don't go to college. Go get your instructor rating. You're looking at 200 hours, I think. I don't know what it is currently. About 200 hours of flying time. Okay, and you're going to spend about 20, maybe 30 grand. Sounds like a lot of money, but you're going to make that back probably in the first 2 years anyway. You know, as a flight instructor, hours are kind of okay. You get 5 hours here, 5 hours, but you're getting $15-$20 an hour. You know, minimum. But what happens with flight instructors, especially on light aircraft, they can't keep them. Why? Because all those flight instructors want to fly 747s. And because of that, the turnover rate is pretty good. How would I know this? Well, you know, I flew. You know, I ran out of money before I could get my license, but you know, I'm into that type of thing. Anybody that back in the day in Ontario, they used to have apprenticeship programs. You know, heating and air conditioning, mechanics, that type of stuff. You make money there. There's no tradesmen anymore. You want to make money, you become a tradesman. They used to sponsor it. Now they don't sponsor it as much. You know, but that's the stuff you want to get into because there is equivalent. When I went to college, there was one counselor, and I think she was probably the most honest counselor you could have possibly met. Real nice lady, and she was sitting there. She goes, "What do you want to do?" She goes, "Do you want a career, a job, or you know, or is it self-interest? You know, what do you want to take?" And I was just doing upgrading, like getting my grade 12 and stuff like that, because I didn't have it, and I needed it for certain things. I needed my grade 10 to join the military, that type of thing. I didn't drop out, but I didn't pass a lot. I didn't pay attention in school. It was my own stupidity. You know what I mean? Nobody to blame but myself. I can't blame the teachers. I can't blame anybody. I was an asshole. I admit it now. I don't know if anything's changed, but I was an asshole. So anyway, she sat there and she says, "Look, if you want a job, take a course that'll guarantee you a job. Cooks and mechanics." She says, "There's always going to be need for both of them." She goes, "You can take the cooking course," which my friend did, and he got his chef papers. And you can make a lot more money if you have your chef papers. But not everybody wants to be a chef. Most chefs end up short order cooks. I mean, you're not going to get paid that much money. And you're probably even less likely to get hired if you have your chef papers as a short order cook because by law they might have to, depending on where you are, some places they have to pay you more. So they're going to get the guy with no experience. Well, teach him how to flip burgers, you know. But you could do it, get your experience, and then next thing you know, you're working at places like the Chateau Laurier, and you're, you know, frontline cook, and you're making good money, you know. But like everything, you have to work your way up, right? And that's a guarantee. Mechanics, I've done mechanics. I worked in motorcycle shops. I worked on cars. I worked on trucks. Even to a light degree, worked on, not officially, but worked on airplanes. And the whole thing is that with cars, okay, everybody wants you to fix a problem without touching the other 50 problems around it. And then they're mad at you when it doesn't run right. And with trucks, they fix it. Trucks, backhoes, all that stuff, anything hydraulic, they fix it. But everything is heavy or heavier. It is real. A diesel mechanic makes good money, but boy, I tell you, you don't want to jam your fingers on anything because you're going to lose a hand. Everything's heavy. Everything's heavy. It's hard work. And motorcycles, I liked working on motorcycles, but that was hard on the back too, you know. And then, of course, airplane stuff requires a lot of skill. A lot of skill. So me, I worked at the museum, so it wasn't a big deal. Nothing was, you know, nothing was flying, but it was it was a good experience to tear down jet engines and build a World War II German. Help work on the 003 or 004 BMW engine, one of the first, basically out of the Heinkel. And that was cool, to work on that stuff. None of it would ever fly again, but it had to be restored, and restored with stuff you couldn't replace. You had to build because, well, they hadn't made it since 1942, or 1944. You know what I mean? That was the last time parts weren't just available. So that kind of stuff was cool, and a good eye opener. And it's also a good experience to see if you want to do it. Next to that, other things you get in, the best thing you can possibly do is start your own business. You'll fail at probably most of them. I have. Almost everything I try fails. Be a successful failure. Because at some point you're going to get something right and something you enjoy, and then that's when you're going to make good. But till that time, yes, you should keep your money safe. And if you can't trust the banks, and you can't rely on the schools, you have to research the job market before you even think about going to school. Child youth worker, that's the program that sucks up so much money from so many Canadian students, it's not funny. There is no job equivalent to that. Almost every one of my friends that took it, but they would take it just to get in, because it's like, oh, well, there's a 2-year wait time for this program, 2-year wait time for that program. I got to go to college now. So it was kind of a money grab, And I was like, wait till 2 years. Put yourself on the list, wait till 2 years. Dental work, that type of thing, there's money there, but it's competitive. It's competitive. Anything to do with real-world doctor stuff, yeah, competitive, but again, hard to get into. So there are things you can do, and I think the newer generation, where they're still kind of lost, is how to look for stuff. My generation, we didn't have computers. You had to, put your shoes on and go door to door, and that's how I got most of my jobs. It's true. My cat called me a liar. Anyway, no. Anyway, yeah. So when I hear that the millennials are basically not putting their money in, what? No. If I go over there and you're still meowing, what kind of cat meows? You know what, Kazoo? It's too cold. You won't go outside anyway. What do you want? No. No. You want to go out? I'm not going to go out. So anyway, I guess I'm going to wrap this up there. We're going to go out for okay, in or out? I'm not heating outdoors. Move it, cat. Move it. Move it. Oh my God, he's going outside. Is he doing it? He did it. Oh my God. He'll be out for 4 seconds, and he's going to come back in. Because the other cat will stay out for a while, but him, he gets cold real quick. So even all 19 pounds of him. Yep, he's a fat cat. But anyway, yeah, so just an interesting thing. So I guess I'm going to leave it at that, because I guess I'm babbling on down. I got stuff to do. So rate, subscribe, share, comment, like. Take advantage of the comments. Please consider making a donation to the channel to help out the channel. Links down below. Thank you very much to everybody who has. Be true to yourself. Be true to others. Always, look, when a great cat came in, another cat. Nah, I'm kidding. There's 2 cats. Is he gonna? He wants to go kill birds, but he's like, I have to work for it. Yeah, my cat's very, very, very lazy. This one not so much, but anyway. So anyway, yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Be true to yourself. Be true to others. Always do the right thing. Have a great day. G'day, hi, and welcome. Okay, so apparently millennials, which is the current generation, not putting their money in the bank. Nope, they ain't doing it. Well, probably because they got no money. Right, Kazoo? Yeah, how about that sleeping 23 hours a day? Dog. Well, I found 2 pets. I think the other one I put outside. I can't remember. Anyway, they're in and out all the time, so in and out. So anyway, yeah, apparently millennials are not putting their money in the bank. They're kind of like putting it in the sock drawer. They're hiding it in the, the cookie jar, that type of thing. So why is that? Well, is it because they are too lazy to go to the bank? No, I don't think that. I think one thing about the millennial generation is, they're very tech savvy. And I'm pretty sure most millennials, I think there was a poll, they don't get their news, they don't watch TV, so they'll watch TV shows, but they don't watch news on the TV. They get it off of Twitter, they get it off of YouTube, they get it off stuff like that. So chances are there's probably a lot more of them that are a lot more woken up than slightly older generations. And you'll notice it just how you talk to people. People typically over my age even, like say 35 and older. I'm in my 40s, but most of them, they know something's wrong, but they don't know what's wrong. The millennials, information travels so fast. They're used to fast information. I mean, they don't even sleep hardly. Apparently they're like basically completely deprived. They don't sleep enough. They're on that go, go, go all the time, which could explain a lot of things of the intense society that we live in, is people not getting enough rest. Like staying up to all hours of the night and then get up and go to school or go do this, go do that, whatever. Yeah, that'll bog you down. That'll rewire your brain if you do that too much. The next thing is that they're going to be more likely to find out alternative news than the older generation. I mean, you get people in their like late 40s, early 50s. Yeah, there's a lot of them that are like me, but that's not the normal. A lot of people over the age of 50 probably don't even use the computer. You know what I mean? Like, that's not their generation. You know what I mean? They're not interested in it. I know a lot of people that are even in my town that are just, they're just not interested in computers at all. They think there's, like even as an entertainment thing, they're just not interested. They don't use them. It's not their thing. So that means those people are going to be behind the times on